Objective 1.6 of the CISSP focuses on how organizations create and use governance documents to manage security consistently. You must understand the difference between policies, standards, procedures, and guidelines, how they work together, and how they are essential for risk management, compliance, accountability, and operational security. Security policies. A security policy is a high level management document that defines what the organization expects regarding information security. It is usually approved by senior leadership and reflects the organization's security goals, risk appetite, legal obligations, and business priorities. Policies are mandatory and establish the authority for security controls. Example, a company policy may state that all sensitive customer data must be protected against unauthorized access, disclosure, modification, and destruction. For the CISSP exam, remember that policies answer the question, what must be done? Security standards. A standard defines a specific mandatory requirements that support a security policy. Standards make policies enforceable by providing measurable rules. They often define required technologies, configurations, encryption levels, password rules, login settings, or system hardening baselines. An example would be a password standard that may require a minimum password length, multi-factor authentication, account lockout settings, and password rotation rules where applicable. For the CISSP exam, standards answer the question, what specific requirements must be followed? Security procedures. A procedure is a detailed, step-by-step instruction that explains how to perform a specific task. Procedures are operational documents used by administrators, analysts, help desk teams, auditors, and business users. They help ensure consistency, repeatability, and accountability. Example, a procedure may explain how to disable a terminated employee's account, revoke access tokens, remove group memberships, and document the action. For the CISSP exam, procedures answer the question, how exactly is the task performed? Security guidelines. A guideline provides recommended practices, but it is usually not mandatory unless adopted by policy or standard. Guidelines help users and teams make better security decisions when flexibility is needed. They are useful when a single mandatory rule may not fit every business scenario. Example, a guideline may recommend using password managers, avoiding public Wi-Fi for sensitive work, or applying secure coding practices. For the CISSP exam, guidelines answer the question, what is the recommended approach? Now, keep in mind that one of these could become a standard because let's say that a company has a policy that prohibit employees to connect to public Wi-Fi with a company laptop. In that case, it's not just a guideline, it is a standard, it is mandatory. So it depends on the context. So what is the relationship between policy, standards, procedures, and guidelines? Well, these documents form a hierarchy of security governance. The policy again defines the organization's security expectations. The standard defines mandatory technical or operational requirements. The procedure explains step-by-step processes to meet those requirements. The guideline provides recommended practices to support secure behavior. A simple way to remember this is policy says what, a standard says the required rule, procedure says how, and guideline says what is recommended. Documentation and approval. Security documents must be formally written, reviewed, approved, and published and maintained. Policies should be approved by senior management because they represent organizational authority. Standards and procedures are often developed by security, IT, compliance, legal, privacy, and business stakeholders. Documents should include ownership, version control, approval dates, review dates, and revision history. Without proper documentation, security expectations become unclear and difficult to enforce. Implementation and enforcement. Security documents are only effective when they are implemented across the organization. Implementation may include employee training, technical controls, monitoring, audits, and disciplinary processes. For example, an access control policy must be supported by identity management, role-based access control, multi-factor authentication, logging, and periodic access reviews. Enforcement helps ensure that security rules are not just written, but actually followed. The CISSP exam often emphasizes that security governance must be measurable, enforceable, and aligned with business objectives. Review and maintenance. Security policies, standards, procedures, and guidelines must be reviewed regularly. Reviews are necessary because business processes, technologies, threats, laws, and compliance requirements change over time. Common triggers for updates include new regulations, cloud migrations, mergers, security incidents, audits, new systems, or changes in business strategy. Outdated documentation can create compliance gaps and operational confusion. A strong security program treats documentation as a living governance system, not a one-time project. Some real-world example that we can give here to put this into context. One, a manufacturing company may create a data protection policy requiring all sensitive product data, employee records, and customer information to be protected. The company may then create an encryption standard requiring AES-256 encryption for sensitive data at rest and TLS 1.2 or higher for data in transit. The IT team may write a procedure explaining how to enable encryption on servers, databases, backups, and cloud storage. The security team then may publish a guideline recommending best practices for securely sharing files with vendors and suppliers. Together, these documents help the company reduce risk, support compliance, and maintain consistent security practices. In the CISSP exam, these are key points. One, know the difference between policy, standard, procedure, and guideline. Two, understand the policies are high level and mandatory. 3, understand that standards are specific and mandatory. 4, understand that procedures are step-by-step instructions. 5, understand that guidelines are recommended but usually optional. 6, remember that senior management provides authority and accountability for security policies. And 7, remember that security documentation must support business goals, risk management, legal requirements, and compliance obligations. In summary, CISSP Objective 1-6 focuses on creating and maintaining the security documents that guide how an organization protects its information systems, data, users, and business operations. These documents include policies, standards, procedures, and guidelines. Together, they help the organization define expectations, assign accountability, enforce controls, and demonstrate due care and due diligence. A security policy provides high-level direction. It explains what the organization expects and what must be protected. A standard supports the policy by defining mandatory and measurable requirements, such as encryption settings, password rules, access control requirements, or login configurations. A procedure explains how to perform a task step by step. For example, a procedure may describe how to disable a terminated employee's account or how to respond to a security incident. A guideline provides recommended practices that help users and teams make better security decisions, but it is usually more flexible than a policy or a standard. This objective is also important for AI governance. As organizations adopt generative AI agents, and machine learning systems, they need clear rules for acceptable AI use, sensitive data protection, prompt handling, output validation, access control, logging, and human oversight. For the CISSP exam, remember this simple distinction. Policy equals what? Standard equals required rule. Procedures equals how. And guideline equals recommended practice. All right, and that's the end for this Objective 1.6. Remember to subscribe to my channel to be informed when new content is it's available. Like my content if you like it, of course, and please share this with whoever you might think that may be uh, interested or that this may be useful. So thank you, and I hope to see you uh, in the next video.